Alright, today we're going to do the brakes on the M5, specifically the front brakes. I did the rear pads. It's going to need the rear rotors at some point, but I bought the rotors online, I bought the pads online. I'll do the fluid eventually, but I was blown away, and I kind of expected it, to be honest with you. The cost of the dealership was going to charge for the front brakes, pads and rotors. So I called up my local dealership, said, hey, I need new pads and rotors for the front of my car. The gentleman who answered the phone said he was the service manager answering the phone on the weekends, and even jokingly said, wow, I can't believe they can't be that much. So he quoted me $2,200 just for the pads and rotors and install for the car. I got them pads and rotors for a grand total of, I think, to my house for, I want to say, right around $800, somewhere around there, $750, $800 to my house. So I'm gonna do them myself. I've done them a few times on other cars, M3s mostly, and some other ones. Not a hard DIY. Couple bolts. You need a 14 millimeter to get the caliper off. Obviously get the wheel off. Those are 17s. And then you need a 5 millimeter Allen head to get the little play screws that hold the rotors onto the hub. Besides that, you may need a rubber mallet just to hit the rotor off, or the old rotor off. And the other thing that I saw was you need a set of pliers, some not needle nose, but actual pliers, so that way you can pull the pad away from, or pinch the pad so it presses the cylinder back into the caliper, and that's how you get the pads off, because there's going to be a noticeable lip around the edge of the rotor. So we're going to do that, and we're going to save a lot of money because I'm not paying $2,200, and that doesn't include a fluid flush, which you also need to do. You can go buy some fluid, Pitocin, or something of the similar .4, which is the factory fill, I imagine, for a lot less than what BMW wanted. They wanted $200 for a fluid flush, so I'll probably beat that price as well. So we're gonna do the front calipers and rotors, and I'll show you how it's done. All right, here's some of the stuff you're gonna need. I like these tools. I'm gonna have to find a way to do this. It's got a 1/2 inch fitting on the end of it, so I'm gonna have to find a way to convert that down to 1/4 so I can use this. So it's an impact screwdriver set. Sometimes those set screws on the rotors where they attach to the hub are gonna be set in there. I did yesterday, I took some WD-40 and sprayed those, took the wheel off and sprayed those to kind of prepare for today, so hopefully I don't strip those out. Worst case scenario, you have to drill it out and either get some new set screws or a new set screw, or you can just run it with. Once the wheel's on there and the caliper's on it, that rotor's not going anywhere anyway. So those are really just to hold it on there. It's just an extra thing. They're not structural or anything. They're just kind of a small little set screw. So what I was talking about earlier, you can probably see it. It's got a very noticeable lip on the outside and inside edge of the rotor, and that's kind of shows you how worn they are. Pads are not bad, so I suspect whoever did this last time did just the pads and not the rotors. Just about 90,000 miles on this one, so definitely time for the rotors, and hopefully the rotors last for a little bit longer, or I won't have to worry about these. Hopefully I don't have to worry about these ever again. So that's the plan. But it should be pretty easy. Take the wheel off, take the caliper off, the 214s, the 2 little set screws, and then I'm one of those people that I clean as I go. I don't like putting dirty stuff back on, so I'm going to clean as I go. The caliper, the hub, obviously the rotor and the pads are being replaced. I'll probably clean the wheel as well. The wheel's pretty dirty. I did wash the car, but I did not wash the wheels because I knew I was doing this today. So that's the plan. Here, obviously jack. Here are the rotors that I went with. It's a company called Zimmerman, and I'm sure it sounds better if you have a German accent because that's where they're from, but they have this nice coating on them, so even once you've done the the pads on there, these will not rust. And notice the ones over there, They don't look too bad, but they do start to get some surface rust on them, especially the older steel ones. I think these have aluminum hats on them. I may or may not be correct there. Don't correct me on that, but I've used these on my last couple cars. I had an E90 M3. That's my dad's car. He's got an E90. I had an E92. Also had an E46 and E36 M3s. All did these rotors on there. Obviously not this size. Never had a problem with them in the past. Pretty good quality. Couldn't find any negative reviews on them. These are obviously much bigger than the ones I've done in the past. I mean, there's my hand for reference. 400 millimeter rotor, so very good size. Did a little searching on the internet, and these are actually bigger than what comes on the Ferrari LaFerrari. Obviously those are carbon ceramic, so a little different and a lot less weight than the M5. So I thought that was a funny little fact that they're much bigger. So went with the Zimmerman rotors, and then as you can see there, went with the Brembo pads. I don't know if those are going to have a lot of dust to them. I imagine they will. I don't think they're ceramic. So the factory ones have a lot of dust. Dust, I mean, in my opinion, dust means that they're working. Yeah, it'd be nice to have some ceramic ones so you don't have to clean them as much, but it is what it is. I went with Brembo because the calipers are Brembo. And I'll show you on there once I get them off. They are Brembo calipers that they make for BMW. So we're gonna get this up in the air. Parking brakes on. I'll put the jack underneath. Always work with a jack stand as well. Don't be a dummy and work just with the jack. I know, never had a problem with it before, but all it takes is once. So make sure you got a jack and a jack stand underneath there. So I'm gonna get the car jacked up, and I'll get the wheel off, and we'll get going. I'm not sure what happened to this part of the audio, but it's a little corrupted, so I'm gonna voice over here real fast. Just showing you that I got the car jacked up. Love those HRE wheels. I really do miss that car. Those wheels were awesome. Did replace those with the Michelin Pilot Sport tires. Those are the Nittos that are on there now. They ran fine, but they were a little loud. All right, wheel off, easy enough. 17 millimeter. There is the brake. So as I said, there's a nice lip on the edge right there. You should be able to see it. And on the inside, there's those little set screws I was talking about. 5 millimeter Allen heads. They're in there, and there's also some little studs right there that help center the rotor on there. Pads don't look too bad. Definitely, you know, not a whole lot of meat on there compared to the new ones that I already saw. One cool thing that is on the factory ones, or a couple cool things on the factory one, they do have the little M logo on there, which is pretty cool. Again, not a big deal to me, maybe a big deal to some people, but it's also got on here, not sure you're gonna be able to see that, but it's got the minimum thickness of what this material should be, not including that lip. So the faces should only go as low as 34.4 millimeters. I don't know if you can see that on there. That's the minimum thickness the rotor should go. So the factory the factory rotors have that printed on there for you, which is pretty cool. I have not checked these. I imagine they're probably around there, if not below that threshold, so hence why we're replacing them. But that's what the wheel well looks like. A little dirty. Do have some rubbing right there. I know these are upgraded wheels and tires on here, so they may have, and this was, when I purchased the car, this was loose. It looks like the underside was damaged at some point, so I will be replacing this and the under tray cover at some point. In the meantime, it looks like it's zip tied in place, so I don't think it's going anywhere. I checked it, it's mounted on there pretty well, but that will be replaced. Aluminum hat, so no rusting on here, just some surface corrosion and, you know, age. Obviously it's older, but you'll see the corrosion here. That mating surface, two different metals, the hat versus the hub. That's where you may need a rubber mallet or something, just to kind of strike this if it doesn't come off immediately once I get the caliper off of there. So we'll do the two 14 millimeter bolts on the back side here, which there's one and the other. And where's it at? If I can kind of see it. Should say there's BMW, and I think it says it in this one, Brembo. So you can see they are Brembo brakes. With the pads, this is what I was talking about earlier. So you're gonna take a pair of calipers, or excuse me, pliers, and you're gonna leverage on this side of the caliper and on this back side of the pad. Once you get this set pin out of here, you can just center punch that out, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But you're gonna leverage this. What you may wanna do, and what I'm gonna do, is put a towel in the way right here. That way you don't score up or scratch up this face when you're doing so. That's gonna pull the pad and the piston. These are 6 piston. You can see the shape here that I imagine, I don't know if that's actually functional, having those little recesses there, if that's actually part of the piston, but they are 6 piston. That'll pull the piston in enough to where you can overcome this lip and you get the pad and the caliper all off. Also, a cool thing I noticed is the brake hose it's got a retainer here, and it looks like another one here. And you can take those off and set the caliper down so it's not dangling. So one thing I always recommend having ready to go is having either a bungee cord or a zip tie or something so you can hang it up. You never want to hang this by the brake line. You may damage it, and the brakes are not something you want to mess with and damage those lines. You always want to make sure your brakes work. So, and that goes with saying, you know, I am doing the brakes on my car. If you're not confident doing this, I'm not, you know, if you do anything at your own accord, that's on you. I'm not saying go do your brakes. I'm just showing you how I did it and saved a ton of money from going to the dealership. These cars are expensive cars, and the sticker on this was a 6-figure sticker. I didn't pay that because I bought it pre-owned, which I've done on all my previous ones, and that's how I'm able to afford these cars. If I had to take these to the dealership and do the service, I would not be able to afford these cars. Alrighty, so this is a fun one. Stud came out with the bolt. So I'm doing my dialogue here, my monologue. Stud came out with the nut, no big deal. It's a T40 on the backside, so did a T40 bit, got the nut off. I'm gonna use the T40 to put this back in. I'll check the torque value to get it back in there. It just goes right back in. So we'll put it back in there, we'll get it torqued down, and then we can put the nut back on. No biggie. We'll do the bottom one. I sprayed some WD-40 on that one. Hopefully the nut will come off of the stud, and then I'll take the center punch, get these studs out of there, those retaining pins, pliers to pull the pads away, and the pistons. And then I got a bungee cord ready. I think I should be able to just get it off of these retaining clips up here, and I can set it down on the towel on the ground, so that way it's not putting any kind of stress on this brake hose. Caliper and rotor are off. Check the hub while you got it off. Feels fine. BMW and their infinite wisdom gave you a couple of places to take the brake hose off, so you do not have to have the bungee cord to hang it. Most other cars you will. I got a drain pan here because I'm going to be cleaning as I go, but it's got plenty of brake lines, not under any kind of tension. And I'll be scrubbing that here in a second with just some wheel cleaner. I'm not doing it too heavy. I am using the brake parts cleaner to clean up some of these spots, the hub and whatnot. But like I said, sprayed a little WD-40 on these little retainer screws. And these almost always, I'd say 50% of the time, they're going to strip on you. Little 5mm Allen heads, and they just are very, very fragile. And if they don't come out, you got to drill them out. So thankfully I didn't have to do it on this side. Hopefully it's the same for the other side. But I'm going to clean up the caliper. Old rotor came off, didn't even have to use a hammer. Just came off. It's just one ugga. It's a new favorite term I've been hearing a lot of people use. So just one yank, and it was off. So get the new rotor on there on a clean surface. I'll put some anti-seize on there, and we use plenty of brake part lubricant on the contact points so we don't get any kind of squealing or squeaking. Hopefully that this mediates that, because I did have some squeaking before this. Pads had plenty of life left on them, so not too bad. But here you can really see that lip that was on there that these pads rode in. So that's evidently part of the squeal, because those expand at different rates, and the metal just makes a little bit of contact and squeals a little bit, but it's probably a combination of things. So just the reverse of that. And we'll get the 2 bolts there, 2 bolts there. So really, again, all you needed was 17 to get the wheel off. Obviously jack it up. I got jack with a jack stand underneath. 14's there, and they have T40 on the top if you need to. Those are the 5mm Allen heads. All right, ready to put the new rotor on. Got the caliper shined up. It's not gonna be perfect. Those things get pretty hot, so that brake dust is gonna get baked on there. Notice I don't have the brake hose. It's not hanging by the brake hose, it's sitting on a towel. The rotors are directional, so just make sure there's a left side and a right side. This is the right side of the car that I'm working on, the passenger side. It's these vanes and also the drill holes are directional, so you can see the vanes when they're on there. That's what's causing the cooling effect or the heat dissipation when they're spinning, so it helps the brakes cool off when they're running. So have a coating on them. Do not use brake part cleaner on there because it's going to eat away at this brake part coating, so you do not need to clean these off. They will come off as the car drives. I've done that in the past and completely taken the coating off, and it completely defeats the purpose of having the coating there. So you do not need to use brake part cleaner on these particular style of rotors. They will clean themselves, so not a problem. The regular ones did not have, the OEM ones did not have any kind of coating, so I usually wipe them down with some brake parts cleaner beforehand. Just be careful, don't touch the faces if you don't have to with any of the, if you're greasy hands, or put some new gloves on when you're handling the rotors fresh out of the package, and put them on there. I cleaned up the hub as best I could, brake part cleaner and a wire brush, so they're a little bit cleaner. Don't mind the backing plate. The backing plate's baked on brake dust. I'm not worried about it. I'm never gonna see it. So if you want to clean it, you can clean it. I clean the caliper. Eventually I'll clean some of the suspension because the aluminum looks good when it's cleaned off, but that backing plate, I'm just gonna leave it. So I'm gonna put the rotor on, the 2 retaining screws. You can't mess it up. It's got those 3 studs on there, the alignment studs here, here, and here, so you can't mess it up. And then you got the 2 retaining screws, so it only goes on one way. All right, got the rotor on, fresh gloves, so you're not touching the face of the rotor with dirty hands. I put one of the lug bolts in here because they are conical, and they got this grade to them, that little cone to them. That helps me line up these, so I got these centered. Sometimes they'll be on there kind of off center slightly, and you really want to line up those holes so that your studs, or excuse me, your lug bolts go back on perfectly. So I got these 2 retaining screws back in. I'm gonna tighten those down. They are not even an UGA in the UGA Dugga scale, so it's literally like I want to say it's like 5 foot-pounds. That might even be too much. So it's really, get it just beyond hand tight. You do not want to strip these and cause a problem where you're having a problem getting those back out. So really hand tight, and maybe just a scorch over hand tight, and that'll get the rotor on there. Next we'll do the caliper with the new pads. Correction, go ahead and take a shop towel, spray some brake part cleaner on it, and then give both sides a wipe, front and back. I sprayed a towel instead of spraying directly on there because I don't want to lose any of the zinc coating inside the vanes or around the hat or inside the drilled holes. I want all of those to stay coated to prevent any kind of rust. So again, I sprayed a towel, new gloves, but just to be safe, sprayed a towel, wiped on the faces, and they should be good to go. So we'll put the pads in the calipers on the rotors, and then put the retaining pins back on and the 2 14s, and we should be done with this side. All right, it's a little bit of a juggling act. You gotta have both hands, one holding the caliper, one having the pads. So what I did is I took the caliper, light it down like this, put both pads inside the caliper, slid them on, put the studs back in. So you got 1 and 2 studs. I don't know if you can see the second one down there, but both are in, holding it in place. I have the retaining pins halfway through. So what you have to do, I'll show you on the front side so you can see what I'm doing on the back side. you have to push the pad in because you're overcoming the spring in the middle to get it to line up with the holes for the retaining pin. So that's what I did on the back side for both. Now I'm gonna do on the front side. Tighten down the two 14 millimeters on here, and that is done. All right, rubber mallet. This one's more of a plastic mallet because it's pretty old, but don't want to use a metal mallet on there. And all you got to do is same thing, just press on this brake pad that way, push it into the rotor or into the caliper, and then you can line up the pin right there so it's going through those two holes. And I took the plastic mallet and literally a couple light taps, enough to get the pin to come through on the other side. That's all you need it to do. And then I'll tighten down that 14 right there. I'm gonna put the other 14 right on there, get those tightened down, and that's one side done. Again, remember these very light, not even UGA. These are just a hand tight and maybe like literally a little bit left. So that's all you gotta do. Otherwise, this side's done. Don't worry about that. That's brake pad. I did not touch the rotor face at all. So that's the brake pad. When you're doing the brake pads, this is important while I have this out. I didn't show you on those, but what I did to hopefully avoid the squeaking is I got this stuff from Brembo. You take a little bit, doesn't take a whole lot. You put it where the pistons are going to contact the pad. So there's 3 pistons on each pad. Put a circle of stuff there. You also slide on these parts on the edges. So put some on these edges right there. You can also do the same on the inside of the caliper. And then also right here, I put a little bit right on the tip there because that's where it goes against that spring, that sprung steel or that sprung metal. So you want every contact point to have some of that grease on there so it doesn't, hopefully does not squeak. So that's what I did on both of those. Torque spec on the 2 bolts, by the way, is 95 Newton meters or 70 foot-pounds. So those got tightened down. I did the studs, since the studs came out, I did those almost identical to that. But those 2 nuts are 70 foot-pounds torque wrench right there. This side's done. Looks good. The nice red backing on the Brembo brake calipers, which nobody will see, but I think it looks cool. And I got the grease right where the piston contacts the pad. So hopefully my squeaking is done for a little while. We'll see. Don't forget to get the brake line back in its little guides, which I'm gonna do right now. So you got one right there, and then you got the other one right there. And there's the finished product. I don't know how I feel about the tire shine. I'm probably gonna take that off. I'm not a big fan of that. But I had to clean up the wheel, get a good shot with the, do it right, make sure the logo's right side up on the wheel. Not bad. I love the way the coating looks. It makes the brake hat and the brake rotor look fairly new for some time. So I think it'll look good. You got a little bit of red in there for the Brembo pads. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna knock out the other side, which is identical of this side. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.